the rig that caught Charlie's mate all those years ago.
We had all of the plans written up and a patent application written, having a light incorporated in the spawn.
And I think people, it's like, it's November, it's winter, I need to go to the deep spot. It just doesn't work that way.
No. And therefore they're feeding with a sense of caution about them. It's only instinct. It's not that they're raving intelligence, because they're not.
There's no two ways about it. Carp fishing wouldn't be in the position that it is now without some really clever people at the sort of helm of these companies pushing.
We shouldn't be using our stoves inside our bivvies, even at cook and all that kind of stuff.
I'm sure you would get more bites if you fished with smaller hooks.
A warm welcome back to the podcast, guys. Unfortunately, in this episode, Lewis Porter has bailed on us with man flu, but in the studio, I am joined by Harry Charrington, Scott Day, and Chili makes his return. In this episode, we get into autumn and winter fishing. Does your hook size hinder your catches? And of course, we get into some of those lovely new Fox products. Stick around to the end, because you can also get your hands on £100 worth of Fox Terminal. Kick back and enjoy. I've got to say, I went outside, Chili, and I've seen this enormous yellow beast sitting in the car park. Just remind, how many miles to the gallon does that do?
Man.
Have you seen that thing?
6.
I heard it. We were sitting in that meeting.
4 miles to the gallon.
Okay, it's costing me about 700
quid to get it.
It'll cost me somewhere between 150 and 175 quid to come here. And get home.
It's crazy, man.
I'm glad the mileage is fixed in the expenses, and it's not. Yeah, you'll be losing money on that mileage. That's for sure.
Probably never claimed an expense in mileage.
Yeah, I've never claimed anything from Fox.
He doesn't. That is true.
I don't want to.
On this occasion,
That's my fun. That's my Tonka toy, and I love it.
It's
and
amazing,
it doesn't
mate.
matter how much it
It
drinks.
looks like someone from Texas has just turned up here. It's amazing.
Well, we were sitting in
so
that meeting,
cool.
out the window, I was like,
Big old 6
looked like
litre
I looked down
engine.
and I went, Chili's here. And he's in your face.
Chili here.
Oh, that's funny.
Likes to announce himself.
It's funny when I take the cover off in the drive and all the kids, there's a school right at the top of the road, and our kitchen is behind the truck. Comes up to the kitchen window, and you hear all the kids. It's a toy. What's that truck program? Super trucks, aren't they? It's a kids thing.
Monster trucks.
Monster
wasn't it?
trucks.
Yeah.
Monsters. Or it's Bumblebee, and there's a little in the daytime that they pin them all together. There's about 5 women walk this, about 30 tiny little kids, and they all stand still outside the house looking and saying what they want and what it is and how frightening it could be or whatever. Everywhere I go.
I'm going to have to kick things off, Chili. I know you've brought in a little gift today. I know it's going home with you, but just to show the reference. Oh, it's not a gift, no. It's a gift for us to see.
Bring up and taketh.
Yeah, it's just show and tell.
It's just show and tell, yeah.
I just think it's something that is,
when we're talking about
my carp
fish,
fishing has crossed the divide from, Lynn gets as excited about it as I do.
Oh, I know this.
Yeah, and I've never brought it in. I've told the story of it before,
I've seen it.
Not in print or anything, or even on film. And when I got home from catching Charlie's mate, and sort of the end of that season, I never used the rod again, and I wanted to keep the rod in my little man cave, and Lynn cut the rig off. And she put it in this little box. And it wasn't until 10 years later that I actually found she'd done it. I was doing a segment on tight lines, and we were going to talk about it then. And we never got around to talking about it. So it's never been spoken about. But this is the rig.
Anyway, what we say?
The rig that caught Charlie's mate all those years ago. Well, the thing is, the reason I kept it.
Did it work like that?
And you've still got the bait on that as well.
It's still got the boilie in it. It's still got the boilie in it.
That was picked up like that as well.
Which is unbelievable. I mean, it's obviously degraded over time.
That's got to be.
But when that is an SSC. That's what they used to be called. And all those years ago at a product development meeting, there was about 10 of us sat around the table. Chris Rose and Steve Spurgeon were there as well, I think. And you drew a hook that you wanted to use, and that was what I drew on a bit of paper, and that's when it became the SSC.
Still
and
sharp.
yeah, it is, isn't it? It is. It's amazing, and it's such a wonderful thing, and it's lovely to think that Lynn did that for me, and yeah,
That would have
such
been
a special
brown
thing.
Cortex.
Yeah.
In £15,
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty thin.
Yeah, long hair, PVA bag, a little crushed and whole 10mm boilies, and a few response pellets, and away it went one morning.
Charlie's mate. What year was this?
2000 March, end of March 2007, and yeah.
Would that have been on a leg clip?
Yes, on a leg clip. Yeah. And yeah, a spot that I'd baited for about 3 weeks, and.
He wouldn't get away with doing
It was
that these days.
on a little margin spot, was it? Is that
Yeah,
right?
and from a very popular swim, the double boards at Frimley, everybody fished it. And back then, I don't know about now, they probably fish it a bit differently, but there's a big bar, exposed bar in front of you. The bottom of that bar was such a good ambush point. I used to fish it a lot because you did catch fish from it. But I broke a rule, okay? I climbed a tree, and which you weren't allowed to do.
I did that at an RMC water and got told off as well.
I got told off a couple of times, but I still did it. And I used to sit in that tree for hours, and I watched them go around the little bay to the right of double boards. And every time they got to a certain spot, half of that, say there'd be 30 carp in a shoal, half of them would disappear. And you'd see a few bubbles come up. Blah, blah. It was quite deep, it was about 9 foot. And yeah, I started baiting it, and then I went. It was the end of the season. It was the start of the spring ticket, so the lake was going to be rammed. And I got that in about 4 o'clock in the morning because I had a coverall ticket. I could go on there early, and I put the rod on it 5 o'clock in the morning, and 10:30 in the morning it ripped off, and there was a lifetime in the making. But it's lovely. I got the rod, I got the rig, and it's always something I reflect on. You know, and in essence, that rig's never changed for me.
It's mad, actually, looking at it. We were touching base on this in the previous podcast with Laney, how sort of over the years angling has sort of changed. And I'm looking at the rig, and we're on about the test curves of rods now, and we've gone up and up and up.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the rig there, and I'm saying, it's such a small hook. I know it caught a massive fish, but the trend these days are probably what 4s and 6s are probably
Well, when
the most popular.
we got
that?
those,
What
we
size
got,
is that?
That's a 7.
7.
Yeah. When we got those made, I got loads of trap hats. I got, fortunately for me, I got 4 free trips to Rainbow in 2006. And I took them all out there. And the biggest fish I've ever caught, which was out there, mid-60 from Rainbow, was caught on a size 9 SSC. I used tiny little hooks just because I wanted to. And I don't think it really matters. But I think they're better smaller hooks because more of it go in and the pressure is spread around the hook rather than on one particular part of it. That's why I use smaller hooks.
Yeah, that definitely. Like with floater fishing, I wouldn't use anything bigger than a 10 floater fishing. And the hook holds you get with those are
it's incredible, isn't it?
Superb.
The whole thing goes in.
So Scott and I just last week we were doing some product testing. Went to Layer Pits.
Can I just stop you? Scott went fishing.
More than multiple
multiple times.
Well, Scott is a full-timer at the moment.
We'll elaborate.
But, yeah, and I wasn't fishing. Scott and Dylan were, and I turned up a bit later to see how this product was performing. And you see, like at Layer, there's a lot of carp in there, and there are a lot of old carp, so they do have sort of smaller mouths due to the sort of years of punishment.
They're a bit that they've had. They're sort of like Pete Burns.
But I was sort of looking at the fish showing bang over Dylan and Scott, and they're getting the odd bite, but I felt like they should have been getting way more bites. And I said there and then, I was like, I'm sure you would get more bites if you fished with smaller hooks. And I don't necessarily think in every scenario they would get you more bites, but there are certain situations where I think the fish feed in a certain way, or they've got smaller mouths or whatever, that I definitely think that they'll be more beneficial than using a big hook. You know, most of my fishing would be done with like a size 5 wide gape long shank, which is a big hook. But yeah, I think I definitely think there's room for having multiple
I think we've
sizes
all
in
got
your
personal
armoury.
preferences. I mean, the thing is, carp fishing it's a multifaceted thing now. You either you got things you can go to linear fisheries, trying to get a swim there whenever you can and go, and that fishing is a world away from the fishing that I do, and there's lots and lots of different things in between it. The population of a lake. Do I want to fish with 500 fish in 2 acres of water? No, I don't want to fish that kind of water, because I think it's, for kick off, I think it's a bit unfair, but a lesser stock water is more of a challenge. Most of it depends on your personal preference, because I think you'll get a bite on anything. I struggle.
You use a lot more. You not a lot smaller, but you definitely generally use smaller hooks than what I do, I'd say.
Yeah, I think whilst we were there, and you made a comment which I thought you were going to elaborate on, but it was still linked, was that I lost one, Dill lost one, two. Let's leave it at two then.
Oh yeah.
You were using long shank wire gates. Yeah. I was using long shank wire gates, and I can honestly count on my hand how many fish I've lost on a long shank wire gape in the past so many years, and it ain't many at all. They just don't fall off. But I've lost one, and each time I've been to Layer doing some product testing, I've lost one fish a trip.
Luckily, it hasn't been testing the hooks.
No. But and Harry said, and he was like, maybe because the mouths on some of them are a little bit not quite the normal shape they should be. That maybe a smaller hook would go in better because it's thinner wire. You get more of the smaller hook in, and therefore, maybe that'll increase the landing ratio. But because I just can't remember pulling out a fish using the rig that I use and the hooks that I use in any other situation. It only really happens when we nip down there and we're catching fish which have been pressured and caught lots. Yeah. And so, next time we go, I'll take some of the smallest ones we got in long shank wire gates and give them a go and see if that means 100% hooked to landed ratio. Because everywhere else I go, it's pretty much hooked to landed ratio of 100%. It's just, they just don't fall off.
I think you would have got. I think you would have got more bites, and you would have landed more fish.
Maybe. I would have. I think I'd have landed more because he'd have landed every one. Maybe get more bites. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to say, isn't it?
But I think if you on those fish where they've there are lots of fish that have been subject to a lot of angling over the entirety of their lives. They don't have very good mouths, and the sort of scar tissue builds up and it makes their mouth smaller. And if you're using a big long shank type hook and they're trying to get it in a small, and they're coming from different angles, etc., that you can, and I've seen it in underwater footage with fish with normal mouths, is they can suck the bait in, and with however far out they've opened their mouths, the hook sort of, I don't know, acts as almost, it doesn't go in, it acts as a
almost like a stop.
Yeah. So you see the bait go in and the hook doesn't go in, and then just spit it out. And I think that happens a lot with fish that have been subjected to that. I'm sure, like somewhere like Christchurch at Lynch Hill, where they've been fished for old fish in a weedy lake, been caught a lot. I'm sure if you went there and fished with little hooks, I
think a lot of it in those instances, to me, at Christchurch, a great example, because it has always been under pressure. I fished it donkeys years ago, only for a couple of times, but I've been there. Pressured fish like that, I think feeding those, it never gets to the boiling point where they're all massively, or rarely gets to that point where every fish in the pond is competing for it, and they make mistakes, and therefore they're feeding with a sense of caution about them. It's only instinct. It's not that they're raving intelligence, because they're not, but it's the instinct slows it down. And I
if
think
it's just
that's
one or
why,
two fish feeding, they're infinitely harder to catch
exactly.
than if
And I think
6 or 8.
it's again, it's all sort of where you're fishing, isn't it? That's always the bit that confuses me with what we talk about.
But this is with the layer thing, is that's a lake with a lot of fish. I felt like they should have, or they would have been feeding on on the spots that they were fishing because they were showing all around them, and I felt like they should have been getting more bites and certainly landing them when they were hooking them. But yeah, anyway, you've been real fishing a lot.
Real fishing.
Proper
fishing.
Well, considering I've done not a lot up until October-ish. I did the same last year actually.
Yeah.
I had a little sort of flurry of activity around October time.
Autumn campaign.
Autumn.
Glad you said
campaign.
that, because H touched on this week. There's too many people now posting their first winter carp.
Nah,
And it's not winter.
Is that like? I mean, this morning I had to get the frost off the car. It was -3, but it isn't winter. I know. I wish Lewis was here because he'd be saying that it is winter.
No, it's not.
But there's people saying if I've got my winter jacket on, it's winter.
Like
You used to see
meteorological
it in
winter.
the magazines all the time.
Yeah.
You know, some guys writing for some company trying to make himself look good, and these are all my winter carp with like conkers still hanging in the tree, and you know, not a brown leaf in sight. And people, end of November. Take it in 3 month slots, and that's how I
Meteorological winter, December, January, December,
Yeah.
Jan, Feb. That's
And
it.
if people want to go by the astrological one, which is 21st, they can do that as well. But it's,
agree.
For December is the start of winter. So yeah, and then we had people saying it's a wintry carp.
No, it's autumnal, and it's not even a lot of autumn's not felt autumnal, has it? It's been quite mild.
No,
Yeah.
it's
So sorry, Scott.
amazingly mild.
Carry on with your autumn campaign that you've kicked off
My
with.
autumn campaign.
Now
I've
we've got
fished
that
a
out of the
couple
way.
of different waters. No, I went to Bled, came back from Bled. We talked about that. Then I went to do some filming, some HELI-CLIPS stuff, and a little video on Golden Oaks, little up and coming fishery that we've used before. Unfortunately, I blanked, but I went fishing. But all 4 of us blanked, which was we didn't anticipate.
Why did you blank?
Well, I don't know for fact. However, whilst we were there, we experienced and witnessed some things that were going on, which I think I have touched on before.
Yeah.
But we could see it evidently happening.
Just to give context, it was textbook fishing weather,
It was
wasn't it?
superb. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't have said we'd had a bit of high pressure. The pressure dropped. Great conditions. It
Warm
was just,
southwesterlies,
it was just
low
screaming
pressure.
out for captures.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was myself, Ben, Dan, who runs the fishery, his bailiff, Aaron, and we just thought, we're going to catch a few.
Game on, sort
we
of
should
thing.
do. You know what I mean? There's no reason why we spaced ourselves out. We covered the whole of the water throughout the session. Everyone tried bits of everything.
Yeah.
Putting a bit of bait in, fishing a spot, fishing traps, fishing zigs, fishing bags. We tried everything, and nobody had a single thing. But what I witnessed was the far bank, which is the bank closest to the lodge. That's got a shallower margin. It's quite a deep lake. It's a small but deep lake. Lovely pond. And it's got a shallower margin. There's a bit more weed there.
So what sort of depth are you talking as a shallower area?
Average along that bank, it's got a shallower margin, but the margins are probably still 8-9 foot virtually off the rod tip.
Okay.
So there's a bit of weed along that margin.
Yeah.
And we were watching cormorants, and there must have been about 8 cormorants working it. And every single
It's not a
time,
massive pond, is it?
No, it's 5 acres.
Yeah, yeah.
5 acres. Every single time a cormorant came up, he was snaffling a fish. Every single time. Now, they've spawned a couple of times on there, but he's got sort of 2 classes of fish coming through. They're like he's still got the ones that are about 1.5 to 2, the late spawners. And because they spawn so what, he's got some 2 to 3 inches swimming around in there. Now, they do it the last couple, they've done it for a few years, and the cormorants, he welcomes them on because it wipes out all the little fish, which doesn't mean that it becomes overrun with lots of little fish. And there's not a single little one that's come through. Them cormorants work it all winter and muller and it's gone. Anyway, we're watching the cormorants, and every single time they came up with a fish, like, boom, another Scooby snack. Every time. Just as it went dark, the fish started to show, and they started on that bank first and worked their way over. And the cormorants stop hunting at night. They don't hunt. So I thought it's weird. So my thought process and what I think was happening was,
and it wasn't. I remember you speaking to me. It wasn't just like a few fish showing. It was.
Oh yeah, no, it was
multiple,
ridiculous.
Right.
So we were watching the cormorants throughout the day. As it's going dark, the fish started to show, and they were putting on a proper show as well. They started really showing, and what I think was happening was that bank where the cormorants were. There's no cormorants feeding on our bank, and I can only assume that's because all the fry was the other bank using what cover there was in the water as safety, and then as the light draws in and the cormorants move away, the fish feel a bit safer to come out the fry.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening was, as they were coming out, the fish started showing on that bank first, and then I assume that the fry have made it across the pond and gone into areas where they haven't been able to access since the day before. And as they come over, the fish started showing more and more over our side. We just couldn't get bites. And I'm convinced that they were just fry feeding, like we spoke on before.
Yeah.
Absolutely convinced that those carp are mullering the fry, because as the weed is starting to get thinner, as it's getting a little bit cooler, not that it is, there's loads of green, but essentially it will be doing. Those fry were coming out, and the carp were now, oh, look at this larder. I'm going to I mean, they're always going to eat them.
Of course they are.
I think they're eating them. The cormorants are eating them. And, you know, why would you want... That's
Why eat a rainbow lily?
It's full of protein.
Yeah.
Why would you eat something like that? And so I think what was happening was that's what was happening. That's why we couldn't get a bite. We were too occupied on the fry. But something that Dan said to me that was quite interesting is, because it's an exclusive booking, he monitors or looks at what the guys put in. And if he doesn't think they put enough bait in, after a booking, he puts a load of bait in. Okay, just to keep that, you know, to keep the fish growing. And he's noticed that when he puts a larrup bait in, it immediately produces 3, 4, 5 bites straight away.
Oh, and this is quite a significant amount of bait.
Yeah.
It's
He
not,
might go in and
not
put
a few
7
kilos.
kilo a pellet.
Yeah. Oh, we're not messing around then.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay.
there's 120, 130 fish in the lake.
Yeah.
It's deep. It does get an exchange of water. It's a recipe to produce some really big fish in the future.
And they're growing like absolute
and they're growing,
stink.
and they're growing,
Right.
and they're lovely looking fish.
Okay.
But he gets a reaction, and again, I'm putting thoughts in, and you're thinking like, these fish have been here, they've been in there for a few years, but you know, they're fish that have been bred on a fish farm. He's introduced them. They know what pellet is, so they're getting bait and they're catching. You know, people are catching a few, getting the odd one here and there, blah blah blah, and then he larrups a load of bait in, and suddenly it's a trigger to these fish to go, whoa, look at that pellet. You know, this is what we've been feeding on for years. They go around feeding it. Does a quick few bites, have probably got the fill for a few days and then drop off again. And I think that combined with the natural, so they're hitting that natural larder. See, Dan didn't put bait in before we went, because what he wanted to try and do was give us the opportunity to catch a few fish. But unfortunately we didn't. We all blanked. But when we left, he put a larrup of bait in, and by midnight that day, I think he'd done 3 bites. So I think it almost then becomes they're smashing that protein, all that they get from the fry.
But there's actually a better,
and then there's a
easier
trigger
option.
Easier meal,
and then
yeah,
there
yeah.
becomes a trigger for them. Larrup a load of bait. Oh, this is easy. And then they go and eat it. Then they have the fill. Don't need anything for another 3 or 4 days. Metabolism breaks
balanced
it down, and
diet,
they go
isn't
again. Yeah. So that's my excuse for blanking.
It is an interesting subject, though.
But
Scott.
but also you haven't just blanked. You had a really nice session.
Yeah.
On
Oh yeah.
On
Well, we had a
Churchwood.
good session there, and you
Yeah,
think you might have blanked, but I learned something from it,
yeah.
or I witnessed something that gave me an excuse to be able to come on here and tell everybody how I blanked. But you know what I mean? You just because you're catching doesn't mean it's a successful trip. You know, I learned something that I witnessed something that I've seen before. But yeah. But anyway, then I went to Churchwood. I went last Halloween, went this Halloween. Freddie's got half term, so we went to Churchwood. Went to see Steve. I was on Church, first time I've ever fished that, and I had the whole lake to myself. There was a couple on Jenkins, and me and Freddie did a couple of nights on Church. Had a couple of fish up to 26, a lovely mirror, 26 pounder as well. Freddie was wearing his Grim Reaper outfit. We went up to the house to Steve's kids. His little girl had a little Halloween party, so Freddie went in and freaked out the younger kids with his grim. In fact, one of the kids was like proper scared and asked one of the mums to ask him to remove the hood.
This is not the one with the right, like
With the red eyes.
Red eyes.
Yeah, that's it.
My missus' little one's got one of them. I bought it for him as well.
So they had to remove the hood because the little boy didn't think there was a real person underneath it.
Thought it was the Grim Reaper.
yeah.
It does look quite scary. She took him to a Halloween party and he's in like the back seat with it on.
Yeah.
And he's looking at people like that, you know what I mean, at junctions, and they're like, there's just two glowing eyes in the back
It was
seat.
good. It was a good little outfit. It was a late Amazon purchase, and we got it for when he went trick or treating. But because it was near Halloween, we decided to go there, and he took it with him, and he was wandering around with his scythe.
You got fish pictures of you holding up the 26
with Freddie with it, and then there's a comment I had in the dark where you can see his eyes properly as well. I think I've sent him. You might be able to put them on.
Yeah, we'll
how are you catching them there?
Pretty much for me, very similar to what I normally do. So I'm using my little chug there. So I'm using 5 ounce inline impact inlines, and then standard sort of like combi rig, slip D, multi fashion, whatever you call it, on size 6s, and they're just little trim down wafters with a couple of maggots off the way. In fact, the first night I didn't put any maggots on, and then the second night I put them on, and I caught on the second night. So I don't know whether it made a difference. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't put them on the first night. I probably just thought I didn't need them.
Yeah.
But then after doing a night and blanking and just done 2 nights in Golden Oaks and blanking, I thought I better pull it out here. I've got to get my A game on the go. But yeah, just a little.
In the right situation.
Yeah, for sure.
They
But not a lot.
change things.
I had a couple of pints of casters, literally a little tub of maggots from when we were at Lou's. Oh, we got that session in as well. And just little traps. That was all. Just sending the chug out, little trap, dropping it in.
Nice.
But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was nice to get out with Freddie for a couple of nights.
Bending the rod.
Yeah, exactly.
Just nice seeing the bobbin
It's a
banks
lovely,
around, isn't
it's
it?
a lovely little water. I've known Steve for a couple of years now, and we always get together and have a bottle of wine or a beer and something to eat and everything. So yeah, it was nice to bump into him again and have a little catch up with him. So
Cool.
It's been a real while since we've had you on Chile, actually, isn't it? It's been.
Yeah,
you accidentally turned up on the wrong Thursday.
Couldn't believe it.
You've driven all the way round here. Like, right, here we go
You
for the
don't
podcast.
know how
It cost
atypical-
cost them 150 quid to do it as well in that thing.
So atypical of my life at the moment, I'm afraid. It's just, it's all a bit upside down, but it's lovely to be back.
But so since the last time that you've been on, your video on Swan Valley has come out.
Yeah.
Which I particularly enjoyed because of there's a bit pretty much in the middle of the film after you've done a night where you're debating sort of with yourself to camera whether you should stay or whether you should move. And I think it's a conversation in almost every carp angler's head that they have when they've blanked one night. So just like for that particular session, because you'd seen fish elsewhere, why did you end up staying put?
Because it could be our move.
Oh, it is. What I could, I went round with a lead, and when that sort of the fizzing stopped in one area, I just wanted to see what it was like, and it was just all gravel and really uninteresting. I couldn't understand why they were there, and that's probably. And there were people opposite as well, so you didn't want to chuck it out too far and mess them about. But I sort of learned a lesson a bit later on. I stayed where I was because when I got back round, this is going to sound awful, and I don't mean to be so condescending all the time. The boats started coming out. Bait boats, and they weren't out to like the middle of the lake. And if you go round, each swim tells you how far you can go. There was a guy in the first swim, he used his bait boat to put his long one out, so that was that rod ruined as far as I was concerned, my left hand rod. And then the little ones that are a little bit further, there was another guy, the old Torrey Canyon came out well beyond the middle of the lake and plonked them right behind me. And the bloke in the next swim did exactly the same thing and put them right across the lake to a snag on the far bank. And it was, I mean, I don't know where the bailiffing had got to at that point, and I felt quite defeated at that point. Remember, I hadn't been for a long time. There was a lot of things going on in my life, and when I arrived in that car park, it was empty. I took a photograph of there's a Daisy, my little van there in an empty, totally empty car.
Love that when you turn up in an empty car park.
I was so excited. I was flick-flacking around the lake before Brad arrived and then we started filming. But as the day went on, the pressure increased and increased. And I thought, if I go over there, I'm nailed into a tiny little corner, whereas if I wanted to move the rods around a bit, I could have done. But I stuck with the spots that I'd found, and they were such worthy spots. And beyond it, I could see the bubbling was getting nearer and nearer, and that's why I stayed there. And I've probably done it needlessly so many times, moved just simply because I think I ought to be doing something to get a bite, and maybe I should have stayed, and thank God I did.
Yeah, it's such a consistent conundrum with that. Like, first night you've blanked. Do you move because doing something, getting something fresh going, maybe moving on to more fish potentially, or you've got everything established, you know your clips, you've got your bait in there, you don't need to do anything, you can keep everything a bit quiet. There's more people coming around the lake making more disturbance. Is that doing you a favour? So,
but it was good actually, because there was angling pressure to deal with. There was the thoughts of where the fish were showing and all the rest of it. And I'm glad I made the decision I did. And unbelievably, I don't know if I even mentioned it in the film. I don't think I did. There was one fish out of the weekend, a 22-pound common, and there was nothing else caught that week apart from that one fish that I had. None of those people would order boats and all that caught anything, which didn't surprise me, because they all plonk a little pile of bait, don't they, that the carp were so used to seeing. My spoms went all over the place, and so there was plenty of movement around for those fish to, I love that, about spotting, because everybody's like, you got to put down the same always well-carpy geezer and all that sort of stuff.
I like a bit of a spread.
Absolutely.
That's just because you can't put it on the same spot every time.
That's where I am.
Anybody who says, I like a bit of a spread on it, just can't put it in the same place.
Tennis court size area. Guys, I want to sort of touch on getting into winter fishing on this. I've got quite a lot of questions from the Syndicate and from YouTube. Before we go on that, Harry just mentioned spoms, and I've just seen some rather interesting little things on your desk downstairs. The spom lights. They look pretty cool. Yeah,
well, I think this is quite a hot topic at the moment, because obviously on the last two Corda podcasts, which I listen to religiously, I really like them. Damo's been talking about the spom lights that he's been making that are effectively the same thing as what Bite Light have been making for a long time, which is a little battery with a tiny LED wrapped around it, some tape, vulcanized rubber wrapped around it, and it creates a little light. When I first took on the brand management at Spom, the first product that I wanted to make, that I was like, we're going to make this is what we're going to do, was a light. I wanted to do it properly. I didn't want it to be, because those lights, they were actually originally first made, I believe, for sea fishing as like an attractant. So they put it on their rig, chuck it out, and fish would come and investigate their bit of squid or whatever it was. And then people saw them, put them on the back of spoms. Like some of the guys who had been doing competitions have been using that sort of thing for years and years and years. I think the first time I saw one was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. One of the guys in the England team was using them, and I thought it was a great idea then. Fast forward, get the Spom brand management. I think it's a brilliant product to bring out. I wanted to do things differently. I didn't want it to be a product that you throw away. So it's not. I'm not going to give away too much yet because we haven't launched it. But sort of Damien showing people how to do it on that. that's, you know, very much like you've got to make them yourself, and every time you use one, you've got to make a new one.
Yeah.
I thought this is a perfect opportunity to tell people that we've got them coming. And actually, this today on my desk, I had arrived the very, very final production samples.
Exciting.
That have been signed off, and we'll be getting them early next year. So
Fantastic.
I can't wait for people to see the full product, because a lot of thought has gone into it. And on an aside note, it was about 18 months that I've been sort of doing this part of this role. I spoke to Brian, the inventor of the Spom, just to tell him sort of my plans of where I wanted to take the brand. And I told him about the lights, and he was like, "Oh, it's funny you say that, because when I first was developing it, we had all of the plans written up and a patent application written for having a Spom attached, incorporated." Not having a Spom, sorry, having a light incorporated in the Spom. So that was when he was first developing the Spom. It was something that he wanted on every single Spom. It became too difficult, and he sort of thought, well, I've got a good enough. He was trying to make a really good product even better when he could have just brought out that really good product. So he brought out the Spom and left the Spom light, because getting it right was taking him too much time. So when I told him, he was really, really keen.
How long ago would that have been then? So he would have the idea. How many years back would that have been?
That's
To
gotta
put
be
it.
2006, 7, 5, 6.
No,
7?
I think it was 2010 when he did when they launched it at a show for the first time. So it would have been in that sort of
I remember
the late
2000s.
2000s.
I thought he did that when I was still at AP at the Five Lakes show, and I came here in March 2010. So you might have done it in
Maybe
2009.
Maybe 2009.
Yeah.
2009, 2010 was when he launched
yeah.
it. It was a good few years before that when he was working on it.
So 15, 16 years ago,
So-
the thought process was there then for a Spom light
Yeah.
by Spom.
Yeah. But the thing, and like Damo hits the nail on the head, and I've used them since I got shown them 4 or 5 years ago, is it really does make a difference when you're fishing at night. Like I know
I don't think I want to see where mine goes.
There'll be plenty of people, and I'm sure Chili's included in this, in people who don't like the idea of little lights going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm sure Chili would rather keep it quiet when he's doing his baiting up,
Well, not when he goes
rather than
badoosh on the
lasers
water.
shooting across the lake. But if you're fishing in especially if you're fishing in a crosswind at night, you do not have a clue where that Spom is going, and having that light on ensures that you know where it's going, and you can then adjust where you're aiming at to make sure that you're still hitting the spot.
Yeah.
And for me, that makes a big difference.
There's places I look forward to using it, but there's a lot of places I wouldn't. You know what I mean? But again, that's what I was saying earlier on. There's so many parts to carp fishing nowadays, the way the fishing is done. And I saw the video on my phone. I was like, wow.
Looks good, doesn't it?
It does. It looks really, really good. And you
Yeah.
just see the whole thing, and you see it go and hit the water. Yeah, no. I think it help, as you say, it will help awful lot of people.
They're really good, and like I say, with the ones that we've got coming, I think they solve a few problems, and they're much more user friendly. So there's no point in bringing the same thing out that people could either make their own or already buy. I wasn't about that. So
Well, they'll fit all Spoms.
all
You-
Spoms, not
yeah.
like not your sort of other
No, with
like your
Spoms.
dot spods and those sorts
Spoms.
of things, but they'll fit all Spoms.
Ready to roll?
No, good. I think it's brilliant.
2026, ideal. I just want to move this into now sort of winter fishing, people obviously getting under their campaigns and that, and something I went fishing with, well, I've been over the last month, I've been out, and I just want your slant on things. if you found this in your own angling, especially this year, more than ever before now, the abundance of weed that is in the lakes right up to this point now. I know we've had sort of predominantly warm spell. I went fishing to the boathouse last week, and it's really, really weedy. On bringing in that weed, the life inside the weed, the bugs, it's like something out of trapdoor. There was just so, I'm referencing something you probably don't know.
You all
again.
remember that.
Trapdoor.
I'm there like, oh yeah, dude, yeah, great.
Trapdoor was amazing. Remember that?
Yep.
Feed me. Anyway, it was a trapdoor, loads of bugs.
Alienating.
But for people watching on YouTube now, I'm going to put up the weed ball that I brought in, and if you check that out, the amount of bugs, the critters, was just off the scale. It was literally moving in my hands, and I'm like, this is every time I'm pulling in from any part of the lake, it was just snithing in critters and bugs. So on doing that and being up against it with the natural food, the abundance of weed, have you put anything into your own angling to sort of get round that, to entice a bite from a carp when they've got all that natural food in front of them going into the winter?
Go home. Come back in January.
It's been
We touched on it before. and
That's literally what people do.
Yeah, but we touched on it before, and obviously the inclusion of maggots and stuff like that.
it's been tricky.
It's
It's
as
been
close as you're going to get.
It's very tricky, sort of late autumn at the moment out there. A lot of people are struggling.
because you caught.
I did catch.
What you did.
To be fair, I did what Scott said. I thought I went to the tackle shop. I bought some maggots. I thought, right, I'll get on with it, because I've noticed it in late autumn in years gone by. You know, with all this natural life, put some maggots on as well. Within 10 minutes of it going out, I'm getting little beeps. I'm like, right, I'm getting either smacked by roach here, bringing it in, and I'm literally bringing in hooked perch on the spinner rig. I'm like, right, maggots are a no-no.
That's probably why you caught. It's probably a fry on the end of it. The carp's nailed that.
Yeah, probably. So I done away with the maggots, and I literally, all I was doing then was just nipping on like proper fined up crumb with some liquid in and putting that back out there. And the next morning I had a lovely 34 off it.
Were you looking for a clear area?
Just a clear area in the weeds, yeah. Well, to the point where it was getting to the, with this time of year, you're sort of limited with the daylight hours. And as the hours pass by, you're getting more frustrated because you can't find a spot. And in the end, you thought, that'll do. It was getting to the point where it was like, well, that's less weedy than anywhere else. So I'm presented at least. It was a bit different. If I was fishing normally, I'd probably just opt for PVA bags, but I was fishing with a mystery box. So I had to go and fish with what was presented to me.
I think that when you're on about looking for that, we might have touched on it before, I can't remember, but the obsession for people to fish on the cleanest spot they can possibly find is the only place where a fish will eat is absolute arse burgers.
Yeah. But it is. Yeah. All the food they want to eat is in that weed, so you need to be fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I think
in
what people are scared of is how to present in a bit of weed.
Yeah.
And if you find a spot that's got weed in it, but you can present in it, you've probably got a better chance than you have fishing the spot that's glass that everybody else that's visited there is going to fish.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a confidence thing. And I think we did years and years ago, when I was fishing up at Reedsbury and that, guy Andy Flint, Art Flinty, if you're watching, there was loads of fishing secrets, I think it was, and basically he fished with a small lead, a long hook length, and a pop up, and put a bit of PVA around it. I can't remember exactly what he did, and he was just boshed it in this weed. The PVA nugget was protecting the hook point. And basically, once it was gone, he had a bait suspended in this weed, and all these fish were in the weed. And he had like 10 fish.
Really?
And that is unheard of.
Yeah.
If you caught 10 fish in a year in there, you were having a mega year. He had 10 bites out of that in a 48-hour session. There was loads of fish in the weed, and he presented in the weed, and he caught them. Like everybody else would just go for the clear spot. There was not a clear spot in that area. It was full of weed. But he just found a way to present in it.
There's so many different ways that you can present effectively in the weed as well, and things that again people don't really do anymore. So what Laney was talking about on his podcast, which was the pop off the lead. That's a brilliant method. How many times do you see now people using like a helicopter rig with a bottom bait but with a stick on the hook. So rather than PVA foam to protect the point, like a little PVA stick of boilie crumb or something like that, just to protect that hook point. So when that dissolves, you know that like the rig's fishing. Pop-ups with a helicopter rig and the bead pushed up the lead. Leg clips with a big long leg, like all of these things, solid bags.
But we did what you were saying years ago.
Yeah.
Pop off the lead. Everybody calls it a zig now. And I learned loads. Laney was there. I had a bit of a field day, 1996, one of the biggest days, 24-hour periods in my car fishing. And I caught my third fish. And you were talking about seasons worth, I practically caught a season's worth in a day out of there. And the third one, all the fish that did show, were just over thick weed, and I put it was snake bite, 25 pound snake
like
bite.
weed.
If you think anything could be obvious when it's off the bottom, it was that stuff.
But it looks like a strand of weed.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. So I could look like, but I put an 80. We went up didn't have any pop-ups. We microwaved a load of boilies and tried to get something that looked like it would stay there
I remember
forever.
those days.
Put it on, and that roared off in the morning, and that was my third Horton carp back in the day when it was a difficult fishery, and and I took that tactic to so many. People don't realise, especially in the winter, and you've got that situation now. Weed, not only does it hold all the food that they want to eat, apart from the bloodworm in the silt, it's also a fraction of a degree warmer than anywhere else in the lake. That's why carp get to it, and they can sit above it. What happens? It's water, like air, rises when it's warmer. That's why they go up so far into the surface layers during the winter, and people think they're just sticking themselves in the silt on the bottom, don't they? I mean, that is still what people think.
I think that the autumn is a very difficult time because it's a big transition with like the weed dying back, the temperature change in the water,
Leaf
then
matter.
still trying to cling on to those last bits of warmth, which on certain days will come from the sun and be in the shallow water, on certain days will be in the deeper water. So like it's a real big sort of melting pot of things that are going on. I saw James Armstrong did a video, I think just yesterday on his Instagram, asking people if they're experiencing a similar thing where he's like seeing a fish over there, moving on it, thinking, oh, he needs to get on the fish, and then sees fish in a totally different area of the lake that's different depth and things, and he can't string anything together. And he's asking people if they're feeling the same thing. And I was in Hungary 2 weeks ago fishing, and we're on like a sort of dammed reservoir type lake, shallow end, deep end. It's probably 6-8 degrees during the day, minus 2-3 at night, getting frost ice over on the water, on your water bottle, that sort of thing. And that we've gone down almost down the deep end, or sort of the start of the deeper end, not massively deep, but like 6-7 foot, whereas the shallow end is 2-3 foot, and we're thinking that the deep end is going to be the one. The guys who are up the shallow end have had it off in 4 days. Between three of them, they've had like 40-50 fish. We're struggling down the other end, and there's probably 15 anglers in the deep end. We've probably had 10 or 15 fish between us. And
I think
it's why shallow waters are so productive. Sanders, just up the road from me, typical example, sort of 15 acres of water. Like the deepest in there is about 6 foot. The most of it's 3 or 4 foot deep. And that water reacts so much quicker to the thing that the sun's doing, the rain's doing, or whatever. That's why when I want to choose a water for the winter, I choose the shallower the better. People, it's like thermoclines don't exist, do they? I think they only exist after 39 foot of water or something like that. But there's still layers in a lake that are slight bit warmer than the rest of it, and it's. I explore by using Well, see, now pop-ups off the lead at different heights, and very often, if you got a bite on a 4-foot one, you change the other 2 rods to that, and you might get a couple more bites because it's an area that they're travelling at. I don't know. It's deep water in the winter ain't my favourite.
You get that kind of like what you touched on before. People are saying, "Oh, well, it's winter catches." It's November. It's not winter. But also, historically, people think, "Oh, it's November. It's getting into winter." It doesn't matter what that is in that respect. It was like a week ago, it was 18 degrees out there. We walked down to get some food in my t-shirt, and it was like properly warm. And I think people, it's like, it's November, it's winter, I need to go to the deep spot. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
And I think more so than ever, like you're saying, it's been warm, there's still loads of weed out there, there's loads of food in the weed, that's where the fish want to be. Wherever you find weed, you're going to find fish. Finding a way of presenting in that weed, but also don't be of the mindset that it's November, it's winter, I'll fish the deep bit. These fish are probably more mobile now than they've been for months because they're trying to find the bits that are comfortable. If it does drop at night, they're trying to find the warmer, more comfortable bits. Then in the day, when it was like 18 degrees, like, wow, the sun's out, they're moving somewhere else. So I think people get in this mindset of, right, it's November, that's the winter spot on the lake. Those fish aren't in one area yet. They're not showed up for winter. They're still all over the place. They're in margins, they're in shallow bits, they're in
and
they're just
back
moving.
Up what Jimmy was saying on his Instagram, saying he was seeing them everywhere.
Exactly
that's it.
They're not together.
I think we need, and this week right now, the cold weather that we've had right now, and if it continues, we'll certainly start to localise them again, and they'll start to tighten up. But they've been recently, for sure, the last
spread out
4 to 6 weeks have been trying to find what is the best thing, and it's been changing all the time.
Guys, obviously a bit more serious now, going into the winter, and that's something Harry's touched on recently on a main media post from Fox. Winter is approaching, and every year we seem to get the condolences being sent out to someone's family because of carbon monoxide poisoning inside bivvies, and it still happens every year. So with that in mind, Dave Henderson has asked via a Facebook page, what do you guys do to battle the cold, be that layers, food and kit? What is your sort of advice for staying warm during the winter as opposed to stoves in the bivvy?
I definitely think that Chili is the best person to answer this, because he has probably done more nights in the winter than the rest of us put together, I'd have said. In an open fronted brolly.
Exactly.
So
the first thing I don't want to enclose myself when I'm fishing. I've said it before, that's my widescreen TV.
That's your telly for
my
nature,
60-inch brolly. I use a Free Seasons bag.
Free Seasons
bag,
right.
And it's the only one that's got the silky top and bottom. I don't like the
Not
ones
anymore.
with fur in it.
You like the polyester,
It sticks to you when you turn over.
Not anymore.
Okay.
The current flatliners and Duralights have got 5 seeds. You can turn it inside out and turn it into polyester.
Anyway, and I've got a bag, a cover that goes over the top.
Do you use the thermal covers or the standard covers?
The thermal cover, and it is an incredibly warm thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is, don't get into your pit fully clothed, because the first thing it does, you've used up, as soon as you get out of it, you've used everything you've got to keep you warm. There ain't nothing else. Maybe put a coat on.
Yeah.
But I see people get out of the bags with coats on as well. They're lying on top of their bags in a winter suit and stuff. I mean, if you want to do that, I'd rather have a good night's sleep and catch a decent fish at 7:30 in the morning or something. But there's underwear. Let's talk underwear.
Sorry, mate, before you go, it just reminds me when we were little, when your mum used to say to you, "Put your big coat on right now. Now take it off, as you won't feel the benefit when you go outside." It's exactly that.
Well, I'm not telling you what's going on.
She's got a way deeper voice than you, Kill.
Oh, bless her. But I wear thermal underwear.
That I think is the biggest
game
edge.
changer.
The biggest edge.
Is it really?
And I do the same thing.
Long Johns, thermal top, base layers.
Yep.
Like we make them, but you can get them from anywhere.
You can get them anywhere.
And that is, I think, the single most important bit of kit.
And don't wear any other hip hugging kind of clothing. If you have you're an XL size, let's say, get a 2XL or even a 3XL, because the baggier the clothing, within reason, collects more warm air and stays warmer for longer. If you tight your clothing to you, you will get cold a whole lot quicker than if you got clothes that are a little bit baggy. That's what you need. And the other thing, the greatest thing I think, is a water bowl. Oh, yeah. Because the last thing I want to do when I get a bite at any time of year, and it amazes me, I watch people on videos and whatever, and you see him, he's got his mobile in his hand and he's taping a run. I have got no time for that. I couldn't even, the thought of a phone wouldn't appear. If I get a run, I'm like a child at Christmas running to the Christmas tree, and I want to get to that rod. So I have my little Crocs, and I've got warm feet as soon as I get in them, and it's enough to get you through the fight. And then, because I haven't got all my clothing on, you might get a bit cold, but I've got a big coat or a hoodie I put on, and then a big coat to keep you warm. And the other thing is, stay mobile.
Yeah.
Get out, breathe the air. And I call them DDWs. I'm not going to tell you what it stands for, but they zip their doors down. Well, one, you've got to get your footwear on. Two, you've got to unzip a door to get to a run. You're putting the car in danger. That's the first and foremost thing you're doing, because the more line it takes off, it's getting nearer to safety or snacks or something like that. So you want to get to that rod as quickly as possible. And whether that's the winter or the summer, it needs to be done with that intensity.
We've never produced as much kit that makes winter as comfortable as we have these days.
Agreed.
Chill's right, base layer, stick a base layer on. We got sleeping bags, bed chairs, 3 seasons, 5 seasons, fleecy ones, silky ones, whatever you want to do.
Water bottles, we've got all that as well.
Memory foam mattresses, thicker mattresses, put a ground sheet in, stop the damp from coming up. All those things. Put a winter skin on so that you don't get any condensation inside your bivvy, because that's going to help it feel a bit warmer. Yeah. Even if you pull your door semi far up, we'll just leave a letterbox out the top so you can look out.
It needs aeration, doesn't it? That's where this started.
That's the most important thing with, if you are going to try and heat yourself up with your stove or with a
Don't do it. No.
Firstly, that's not the way to warm yourself up. But if you're going to do it, you need your bivvy door open.
But leave some ventilation, wear the right clothing, layer up, use a ground sheet, use a winter skin, use the correct bag, use a thermal cover, use a hot water bottle. We just released an electric blanket kind of thing. But that goes underneath your sleeping bag, between your sleeping bag and your bed chair. You've been using it for a year or 2 years.
It's ideal. The dog normally has it.
You plug that into your power pack, and that just gives a little bit of heat out every now and again, and just doesn't make it super warm, but it just takes that chill off. Yeah. And it's designed to do that, so it lasts for a 48-hour session on a small power pack on a medium setting or whatever it is. I can't remember, but you can do that, and that just takes the chill out. And that means that when you get back in, and because it's coming through the base, it's coming up, it's warming up into your sleeping bag, and you get cold if you go out and you get a bite, but get back in your bags.
I think you mentioned stay mobile. I think that's not just stay mobile as in the style of fishing that you're doing. No, that's like, don't sit in the same place for hours at a time.
Like that on the edge of your bed chair.
Get up and have a wander. Move about. And when we posted that, and lots of other companies have posted a similar message at the moment, because there's a guy called Gary Beasley who is doing fantastic work getting all of the sort of main companies in the industry to really pump out this message, because people literally die every year. Yeah. Carp anglers die every year. It's really sad. But on it, you get lots of comments saying, the kit is so expensive, we can't afford, and you don't need carp fishing kit, carp fishing clothing to say what. It doesn't have to be Fox. It doesn't have to be any of these other brands. Yeah, I'd say important is a good sleeping bag, or a sleeping bag with a cover. But then, like you say, hot water bottle, cheap as chips. Yep. Thermal underwear can get from anywhere. I think a fleece is a really good, like something fleecy is really good at trapping the air.
And it's best against bear skin, a fleece, believe it or not.
Yeah. Like you want to, things like making sure your t-shirts tucked into your joggers to stop any drafts going up your back, like things like that. And you can get warm clothes for not a lot. Layering up, a woolly hat, some gloves, a few pairs of decent socks, one thin pair of socks, and then a woolen pair on top.
And footwear.
Something like that. Decent, some not even decent, just like lined boots, thermally lined boots. Again, they don't have to, although we do some very good boots for not a lot of money.
No. Mozza swears by them. He does. He swears by our new boots.
And if you go and if you're comfortable, you will fish so much more effectively. And there are less people on the bank. You can have some brilliant fishing at this time of year.
It can become desperately miserable if you let a 48-hour session and you've let yourself get freezing cold in the
it's
first
horrible.
day. It's hard to get rid of it. And,
it's tempting to put, we shouldn't be using our stoves inside our bivvies, even to cook and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if you're sitting in the doorway and you're getting the extra heat from it, it's tempting to think, just leave it on for 10 minutes. Don't.
No, because it'll warm up and it's the middle of the night and you're tired, you fall asleep, and that's it. And then that is it. You are toast.
I'm a bit extreme, I suppose. I don't even eat hot food on the bank. I just chuck a few little bits and pieces, and that'll do me.
Jesus.
But my stove gets worked for tea. I'm addicted to the stuff. So but it's comfort, and people sort of tend to not think that's the last thing they think about, and
But that's the sort of thing. Rather than like just leaving your stove on as a heater or having a heater, make a cup of tea with the rest of your water. Pop it in your hot water bottle.
Yeah. And if you wake up in the middle of the night and your water bottle's cold, then just top it up again.
Yeah.
Put it back in.
But let me tell you, don't put the water in the hot water bottle
when it's boiling
into your kettle and reboil it. Because your tea will taste like shit for the rest of your life. It'll taste like a bottle of rubber.
Oh, guys, I've got so many. Like we asked, obviously the syndicate to send in questions, and I've got so many questions, but I'm aware that time is ticking.
Quick fire them.
Honest, there's so much I can get into, and we could be here literally all day. But one that sort of stood out for me, it's away from the sort of winter theme, but I suppose it is a thing in the winter you could look at. David Thorpe has asked on Facebook, resting a swim. So the argument for doing this is because it allows the fish to get used to being in the swim with no line spooking them. But if they're in my swim, isn't that at the exact time that I want a baited rig in front of them? I'm struggling to see the logic of a so-called swim rest. When I'm going back to the swim and recasting and the lead's spooking them, please help me make it make sense. Thoughts and tips, please, guys, on why resting a swim.
I think the point of a swim rest is if you feel like the fish have vacated the swim because of whatever pressure you've put on them, to then let them come back into the swim. The idea being if you are consistently fishing for them, there is less chance of them coming back into the swim. And then once you have rested the swim and the fish come back, you know your spots, you're clipped up. It's just 3 chucks,
3 class,
and you're back on the spot. So it's minimal disturbance. I think that is the logic. It's not something that I do an awful lot. It is something that I did. It's kind of enforced when the only time I fished on Swan Valley at Yateley, and it. I was winding in during the day because we were filming products and I was off around the lake. So you're not going to leave your rods in. But it certainly, I was catching fish every morning, and it certainly didn't hurt me getting more bites.
Yeah.
And I had a really good, I think I had 9 fish, which is a really good session on there. So it certainly didn't hurt. And I feel like it helped because there was a long period of time without rigs in the water, and the fish could just go and do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, you're talking tactics here as well, and I think it's a really good point because people want to refresh their hook baits. don't they? They want to change their rut, but if they put a pop-up on, most people who do it are aware that it's not going to be a pop-up after a few hours, and so they don't want to change it. And I watch the times that people want to change. First thing in the morning, unzip the bivvy, reel the rods in, put a different and recast them. Or they've had those baits out all day, so they reel them in just before dark and put them back out again. And that's 2 times, probably more than any other times. That's when the most bites in carp fishing happen.
You're screaming on the bank going, what are you doing?
I do. I've been that man. But, rest in your swim. I mean, the first thing I do, well, not the first thing, but part of my process of getting to know a water is when people are getting bites. I mean, so many. I'm talking about probably waters with a lot less carp in back in the day, but the middle of the day, the carp, you could go and look in the snags at the other end of the lake and you'd see most of the population there. Or, you could see them out on a warm day out in the middle of the lake. So, not there. So you reel in and then go and have a look around the lake, go out the shop, get your paper and do whatever, and then put your hook baits back on the spot if that's where you're going to stay. But I only cast once a day. And that is after I've...
Me too.
Really?
After
that's
yeah.
1, 2 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and that's normally when bites don't happen. And that you'll say, yeah, but if everybody's doing it, you don't know they wouldn't have bites. But most people don't do that.
Are you? Is that 12 months of the year, whether you're fishing the winter, the spring?
Well, maybe a little less in the winter because things can change so dramatically. And bite times, I remember down on Mercer's Park and Laney... was fishing with me. He didn't go down and do sessions anymore because he lived literally 5 minutes up the road from it. He went down at 10 o'clock in the morning, fished it. There's 2 little spots he had on the go. I didn't bother him. That was his little area right down the other end. Still deep water. And he'd get a bite at 11 o'clock. He'd do the photographs, then he'd be home for lunch around about 12. And he caught most of the time he was there. But if I was there, I would leave them out at that time. I would get a bite between sort of 10 and 12 in the morning. And that was probably the only time you would get a bite.
I think, again, it's venue...
Site specific,
it's so venue specific because I know, there are certain venues that I've fished that there is nothing like a refresh at that crack of dawn, just at first light. Few more spods, reach up the rods, and they go straight away. And they've been out all night.
But
nothing's happened.
Right, it is venue specific.
And so that is. But I wouldn't do. That's not the sort of thing that I'd do everywhere. Swan Valley, that sort of where they're pressured carp. There's not loads of carp, half decent stock, but not loads. You're not fishing for big hits of fish. You're not trying to put loads of bites together. I think a lot of venues, a lot of syndicates, that sort of thing. If you can catch one fish every 24 hours, you're sort of doing well.
Yeah.
And so that in those instances, you're maybe not trying to push for the bite. You're trying to keep everything as minimal and as undisturbed as possible, and you're waiting for their confidence to build up. But there's other venues where you need to trigger something to make something happen.
I think the rest in the swim thing was a stupid look at me, I'm wonderful thing they used to write about in the 90s. It was just something to write about.
They've just gone to the pub. It's an excuse to go to the pub.
Barbecue on.
To me, it's the most meaningless line in fishing.
Yeah,
and he's so correct in his. If the fish are there in his swim, then you know it, then you keep fishing.
But I think I can see the logic when you feel like they're not line shy and not there. Not when I say line shy and not there.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to encourage them back.
Yeah.
But taking the lines out.
But have everything like you said.
I've done it
clip.
for
have everything on your clip, so you are bish bash bosh done.
Yeah,
I've done it a few times on lakes.
Could be not just leaving your lines out of the water. It could just be don't do anything in the swim.
Yeah.
Because if you concealed your lines and you're all right, and you've got long leaders on, and everything's down on the bottom and everything else, the angling pressure elsewhere might push the fish into your swim. So resting might not actually be winding in. It just might be just leave them.
Yeah. Isn't technically pre-baiting is long form resting your swim, because you go there the day before or 2 days before, you make a load of disturbance, spot it all up, and then go right. Well, hopefully no one goes in there, and I can get back. When
I used to fish 3 days a week, very often my first 24 hours I wouldn't fish. I'd bait up.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't fish.
Yeah,
and I would wait, climb trees, and just try and find the quietest moment. And again, looking on all the snags and everywhere you might find those fish, so you know they're not on your spot.
Yeah, I've seen that in competitions as well. There's been I don't think I've ever been in that situation, but there's been times where you've got it's a 48-hour match, and someone's come out like last in the draw. They're in a bay where there's no fish and it's rubbish, and they've just gone, not going to fish for the first 24 hours. Everyone does their baiting up. Everyone's got their lines out, because they're all fishing hard and they're trying to push the issue, trying to get as many bites as they can. There's one area of the lake that's quiet. Fish will turn up. You start fishing. You catch enough fish to qualify.
Goes back to what we were saying before, doesn't it? Yeah. That angling pressure just pushes the fish around.
Angling pressure.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the biggest things that motivate carp, but it's probably the biggest thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that I think you sort of touched on it as well. If you can when most people are doing their activity, spotting it up or whatever, if you can do as little as possible, then that can be an advantage.
Definitely.
You could, on day tickets especially, you see it, and in competitions you see it. Somebody picks a spod rod up. Somebody else will pick a spod rod up. Somebody else will pick a spod rod up. He's like, he's putting some bait out. Maybe I need to put some bait out.
The fish will go to him quick.
Well, it might be that he's making a bit of a palaver at the moment. I might as well do mine now, get it over and done with.
Yeah. There's loads of schools of thought, but I think, and like we said, it's site specific. It doesn't. It's not always going to happen. But if you've got that thought in your armory, it could help you in a situation at some point. It's not something that you should do all the time.
Pressure and timing and all that kind of thing. I'm sure I've mentioned it before. Might not have been in this, whatever. I used to fish a water that I used to travel 3.5 hours to get to. Weekend water. Most anglers are fishing it for the weekend. What does everybody do when they go for the weekend? Turn up on a Friday. They might pull a swervy, get there a bit earlier. Sorry, excuse me. Wake up Thursday morning, pack up and gone by 10.
Saturday morning.
What?
You said turn up on a Friday.
A Friday morning. Take it on Friday or a Saturday, sorry. But then Sunday morning, what's everybody do? Wake up in the morning, have a cup of tea, bacon sandwich, whatever, bivvies dried off, wrapped up, gone by 10. I'd travelled 3.5, 4 hours to get there. Why waste the whole of Sunday? So I used to stay on until like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The amount of fish I caught from that water on a Sunday dinner time to afternoon, because everybody just used to go home.
You get it when you go to France, and there's that like changeover period on like a Saturday. Everyone's pulled off on a Saturday, and then the next group are on Saturday afternoon, and the owners you turn up to that thing and there's fish sloshing out everywhere, and they're just going absolutely potty.
What's everybody
do? Oh, this is going to be easy.
But what's everybody do then? Get the marker out, get the spot out, go ballistic, find a spot for a week. You get there and just whack out a couple of bags or singles. You can get a couple of bonus fish straight away.
Yeah, definitely. Hang on, what was I going to say then? I did it at Rainbow in Swim 18, the most famous swimming in the world. It changed over, and everybody out in boats throwing buckets of bait and everything, and I cast to the edge of that shelf, and within an hour I had it was £27, but it made a couple of people eat their words.
So Mozza's been there this week.
He's been catching off his casting rod.
Yeah.
He's 11 over. I fished that swim he was in.
Right. Yeah. He's caught. He caught, I think, half of his fish just chucking to fizzers in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he did.
And he was like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So moving on to some other questions. Now, this was quite a lot, actually, with our big product launch that happened a few weeks ago. Lots of new goodies ready for people's Christmas list. But the new bobbins was asked quite a lot. Can I use the new bobbins if I haven't got Fox alarms?
Yes.
Providing it's a 2.5.
That's it. 2.5 mil.
And it will fit in. So there you go. If you've got a non-Fox alarm, but it is a 2.5 mil jack plug, you can use the new bobbins, the much wanted and talked about bobbins. Excited for these guys?
Well,
My excitement was about 2 years ago.
it's been a long time coming. It's been a product that's probably been spoken about, and we've had more questions about when are they coming than any other product for a long time, because people have known that it's coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's good. It's good. We're looking forward to when the stock arrives and people can start using them.
I've been utterly amazed by it. You know, I'm not the greatest follower of things or anything, but every which way you turn on the old intro web, people are talking about these bobbins that light up.
I think I mean, let's be honest. That launch that we've just had was unreal,
unbelievable.
Like, super big. Thanks and well done to the product engineers and stuff, because they've really pulled it out of the bag. We've got multiple products in that launch that have got patents on them, so they'll be totally unique to us. HELI-CLIP,
The HELI-CLIP,
lever lock landing net.
Unbelievable.
Obviously those bobbins we've spent a long time on, plus super cheap, great value bed chair systems that EOS is. Revamped, even better EOS bivvies, Duralite bed chairs, flatliner memory foam bed chairs,
landing nets that are just simple.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know about you, Scott, but probably since because we used to do, when you and I first started, we'd launch all of our products at the start of a year with a price list. Right.
Well, they used to be,
when it was like when we launched like the flatliner, the Super Brolly, the Rapide, the Black Label. I think this launch right now was probably the best, I'd say, since then. We've launched a lot of very good product, but in terms of
I would
significant
say,
product
in terms of
one
like
go.
Exciting products, especially interesting products to work on, products in demand. It's been
those
mega
HELI-CLIPS have
launch.
been a journey, a big journey. We obviously, everybody knows the alternative to these ones, and I think a lot of companies have tried to get around the patent, because they've got a proper Loctite patent on it, very good patent, and it's a very good product. And we tried, for a long time we tried and couldn't do it, and one of our very clever CAD engineers, we gave the task to him of make this like there was a number of points that we wanted it to do, but it's also got to get around this patent and also be patented itself.
Well, it didn't have to be, but it made
It
sense
would make
to do
it. It would
so.
make it a
absolutely.
chance of the product being successful for a long period of time a lot better.
Yeah.
And he did it so. Look, the concept was so quick. Came up with
the guys
so
don't
quick.
get as enough credit as they should do. You know, we have ideas, but they're the ones that make our ideas into reality.
Come to life.
But
sort of
also
thing.
things like that, where we task them with something. This is what we want. This is what we wanted to do. You know, it's their. I sound like Roy Keane. It's his job, you know, to do it.
Do your job.
But he's not a carp angler. But that really works because he's not influenced by what he knows.
He's thinking outside the box.
Yeah. And he has done. He's absolutely nailed it. And yeah, they're a great product.
I think the comments I've seen more, Scott, on it is if the simplicity of it in
Well,
wanting to hold the lead or drop the lead, it's just a quick turn, isn't it?
It's,
And
yeah,
that's it.
three
You know.
pieces. You don't have to take it apart if you want to switch it. We were sort of talking about it the other day. I mean, we've spoken. Jesus Christ, we've spoken about this product a lot. But just saying the other day, like quite a few times when you go and you use helicopter rigs and you drop in the lead every time, and then you get, actually, do you know what? I don't need to be dropping the lead. I want to keep it on. Then you have to take everything off.
Yeah.
Change it all over. Whereas now you literally just give it a little
180,
pinch,
done.
Pinch
half
and
a
180.
turn, and you can do it. So yeah, plus 3 in a pack. You can in the pack you get everything that you need to set it up on naked, on leaders, on tubing. Yeah,
You got everything you need to do all kinds of.
It's going to be very popular, mate.
I had a lot of comments saying, what makes them different, or these other ones do this, and whatever it may be. A few comments straight away were like, "Oh, just ripped corder," or "It's the same as." It's not. It can't be the same. Theirs is patent protected. Ours is now patent protected. It's not the same. They can't be similar because it infringes. They are different.
Yeah, they do the same job.
Yeah,
in different ways, and I don't know. We're going to say it because we're biased, but I feel like ours does a little bit more.
Well, that's innovation,
a little bit
it?
more. Yeah, and that's it. And like it's been how long? It's probably been 9-10 years that they've had that product.
It was a great product.
It's a
They
brilliant
had a great product, and that's the thing that makes the sort of not the rivalries, but if we're always trying to outdo each other, that's helping the anglers because
carp fishing's never had it so good
no.
in terms of like options of product. Like the choice for anglers now of what they can use, all the different rig bits they can choose, all the different rods, all the different
that's happened from each company trying to make something better than the other company.
Well, you push each other, don't you?
Yeah, there's no people. I think some people think that we sit there and they're like arch enemies. We're throwing darts at effigies of them or whatever. We know loads of those guys. We're friendly with those guys.
Good mates, aren't they, as
bump
well?
Into them,
Yeah.
we chat.
Yeah.
Business is business. We do what we do, but we're not going to sit there and opposite the room and just like glare at them. We'll converse.
You almost need each other in a way.
Beer. Yeah,
it's a friendly rivalry.
Yeah, you do. Like there's no two ways about it. Carp fishing wouldn't be in the position that it is now without some really clever people at the sort of helm of these companies pushing innovation forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, there's a great product on another big launch, and hopefully people.
I'm just
will
glad
see
I
the
don't work
benefits.
Downstairs. Really, we'd all be in the soup kitchen by now, and being helped by the local council because it amazes me what they do. And I've 20 odd years I've been watching it, and it just always leaves me a bit breathless.
Yeah,
I can't thank them enough for it.
But like I say, heads up to the guys. They make our dreams and thoughts realities. They make from an engineering point of view. We could do that where you can't because of this. So that's why it works. We're there at the forefront, and people come over and say, "Well done, that's great," and everything. But we can't get there without them. Without what they do.
The lever lock landing net is another very good example of that.
This
where
is
we've
the problem.
We need to make a landing net that sets up and breaks down really, really easily, and you don't have to wrestle with the arms, which some people find really easy, but other people don't find easy.
Where they get broken.
I've read comments about what's wrong with the one that there's nothing wrong with what's out there.
No.
But for the some people that do struggle with it a little bit, this just makes it easier.
We ain't forcing
fisheries. Anyone to buy
It'll make
this.
it easy for everybody.
We're not forcing anyone. 170 quid. It's like, well, actually, if you look at some prices of landing nets, there's 200 quid landing nets, 300 quid landing nets, 170 quid for a landing net with a 2K carbon arms, carbon pole, deep camo mesh, whatever,
and a very unique,
exactly.
Also
I'm getting
patented,
to that. 170 quid for a decent landing net is about par the norm. But this one, you're going to get it with a patented mechanism, which makes it a bit easier for those people that struggle. For those people that don't, carry on using what you've got. There's loads of brilliant landing nets out there, but this one is for the people who might struggle a little bit with setting them up and breaking them down, especially when you got fishing. There's an answer for you.
Or even, to be honest, even who don't like, we've got people who've been testing them for. You've had one for about a
phenomenal.
year. Like Mozza's been using them. Lewis has been using them. Like these are guys who have set up and pat down the landing net before, and they've been absolutely raving about them, being like they're the easiest thing to use. And if you can make your life a little bit easier and you can justify the expense, then it's a brilliant product.
Yeah, no, it's been a phenomenal year in terms of product this year that we brought to market. When I go back to the summer launch as well, with all the Frontiers, and then this one again, it's just been a great year for Fox in terms of new product and innovation coming out. People asking, where can I see them? When can I get my hands on them? are we doing shows? Yes, I can tell you we are doing the shows this year. We are over in Holland at Den Bosch, so you can see all the new Frontiers there. The HELI-CLIPS will be there. All the new launches will be at the show. And then in the UK, we're heading over to Farnborough at the big one at the back end of February as well. So you can come and see us there and get your hands on all the new kit and have a play with it, especially the bobbins. If you want to mess around, they will be there as well. Guys, we are vastly running out of time now. We've gone over like we always do because we can talk forever, but I want to bring it in now to Fish of the Month for October. Now, I know we butted heads on this one. There's been some great entries. I'll bring up some of the, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll bring up some of the entries now. There's some great entries. There's lots and lots of entries, but obviously we have to narrow it down. So the two that sort of come into the frame, myself, Chili and Scott, we're voting for this one, which was Richard Freeman with a new PB at just over £40. But then Harry and Lewis, you were looking at BES's £61 common.
Yeah, I do not understand how Beanie's fish doesn't beat this guy's. I don't get in whatever world you live in. I don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong, brilliant fish. I'd love to catch it. Like 40 odd pounder PB. Not trying to take anything away from the guy, because like I'm sure he was absolutely buzzing about it. If I caught it, I'd be absolutely buzzing about it. But wherever you are in the world, a £60 common from France is a rarer beast than a 40-pounder from the UK. 100% it is. Really? Nowadays,
debatable?
No, it's not debatable. The
right, clearly it's not.
Then a £60 common is in France is you get more of them than you do £40 mirrors in the UK. That is I just don't see that. I don't see that. Also, it's also her PB.
Yeah.
Like female angler as well. Like I'm all for like promoting females in angling. I think the fish is better looking. I like opinion. Everything about it. I don't understand where you guys. I feel like it has purely been penalised because it's from France.
Well, hang on, it's not being penalised at all.
It has been penalised. You voted against it. It's literally it was 3 votes against 2, and Beanie now, according to that, doesn't get a prize. She has been penalised.
No, she can have something from me. I'll send her a prize from me.
Well, no, well, this is the thing.
Well, look, it's personal opinion. That's why you married Alice and I married Alpa. You know what I mean? You like what you like. Are you
suggesting you had a chance?
Well, I might have done. we don't know, do we? We don't know. Sorry, ladies. They never watch it anyway, so we're fine. We're perfectly fine. Yeah. But yeah, it's personal opinion. You preferred that one. I preferred the mirror. It was the shot in the water of the mirror. It's just a lovely shape, and that's the why I liked it. But I'm not saying that is better than the common. That's not what I'm saying. That's just what I liked. That's it.
Yeah.
I'd love to know if people agree with me in the comments that a £60 common from France is a more rare beast than a £40 mirror from the UK.
I think the topography.
There you go, guys. Get in the comments. Which one do you prefer?
I've caught a hell of a lot more £40 mirrors than I have
fished in the UK more than you have in France.
That is true, but I just
no, I can't see it, Harry. I really can't.
So what can we do, H?
Well, Beanie's getting. But what's the prize
was £100 worth of Fox Terminal to be sent out to the winner.
Okay, well, Beanie's going to get a 3-rod alarm. No,
a new Frontier.
I will take it out of my personal allowance to sort Beanie out with the same price. Because I think it's a travesty that she hasn't been voted.
So there you go. So Richard Freeman, well done, and Beanie S, well done to you as well. Both fantastic fish, and you will both have prizes on the way to you. In terms of other prizes, now, if there is a person watching, for the love of God, please get in contact. There's a guy on YouTube who goes by the name of William the Conqueror 1. You have won Harry's rods.
Isn't he brown bread?
Possibly. That's probably why we haven't heard of him.
He's an old man, at least.
Yeah, he's an old man. But that's the name he goes by on YouTube. I've been trying to contact him this was the second draw. The first guy I've contacted, couldn't get in contact for weeks and weeks. I've gave up on him. Second draw was done. but William constantly sort of replies on the podcast, always posts messages. So I'm hoping if you're seeing this, you have 1 week to get in contact. Otherwise, the draw of the rods will go over to the syndicate.
And how does he get in contact with you?
So all you've got to do is make sure you are a member of the community page, which is the Syndicate. Head over to Facebook. There's a link in the YouTube comments. Hit that link, get over there, contact me, Dean Watson, and then we can sort the rods out for you. In terms of competitions this month, our next guest is Mr. Mark Pitchers is joining us in the podcast studio. Mr. Pitchers is back. I know, it's been a while. We haven't seen him for a long time, have we? Long time. He's busy. He's busy now doing all sorts, isn't he? With his competition and his tackle shops and golf, even golf now. Now he's repaired has his legs recovered now? Is he walking again?
I'm sure he'll be complaining about it. Don't you worry about that.
I think last time I saw Mark was when we were sitting in a bar at Den Bosch last year, and it was a very strange...
No, he's at Lewis's wedding.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, true. So I've seen him then and then. But yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, Mark is joining us in the next podcast. So for your chance to get your hands on £100 worth of Fox Terminal tackle, in the comments, just put a question you would like to put to Mr. Mark Pitchers, and that will enter you in the draw. But for the love of God, please make sure you are a member of the Syndicate, because it's there we do the draws, and it's there you'll pick up your prizes.
I reckon we should convince Mark to throw in a couple of tickets to one of his raffles.
An RT7, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, you could bring a free transit van in for someone. Or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
fine. He's
You
got
can
transport.
afford it.
There's 100 quid for terminal tackle and 5 tickets to one of Mark's raffles.
Yeah, I reckon so.
I'm sure he'll do us a freebie.
Yeah, there
He's
we
all
go.
about
We're
the freebies at the
digging
moment,
up the edge.
apparently.
We're getting more.
But yeah, join the Syndicate, guys. There's more than just competitions going on there. We release product early on there. We do all sorts.
Loads.
Imagine if we said if you were a Syndicate member, you got access to the illuminated bobbins before everybody else.
Ooh.
Don't say that.
From the products guy, from the horse's mouth.
I'm just saying, imagine if. But but no, that's not the case.
No, it isn't. But guys, once again, thank you ever so much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. And from myself and the team here, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
Toodle pip.
Well done.
Cheers.